Okay, hi guys. We are going to look at 7-3 today. Now, 7-3 is a little different. We're going to have patterns that you can use to help you with some of these. Or if you don't like the patterns, absolutely, we're just going to be able to FOIL like crazy today. Okay, so it's going to be your choice what we're going to do. So the objectives are that you can use patterns to multiply binomials. So this is 7-3. It's called special products. So let's look at the problem a plus b squared. Why is that considered a special case? Well, what does it mean to square something? When you square something, you multiply it by itself. Okay, so I'm going to take a plus b and write it twice. Okay, I want to multiply it by itself, which is what they did right here. I personally don't like the way they show distributing here, so I'm just going to write it again, and we're going to FOIL. Okay, remember FOIL first, so a times a gives you a squared. O is outsides, so a times b. Insides, b times a. Now, normally you do ba, but multiplication doesn't matter what order, so I'm going to change that to ab. And then last times last, b times b is b squared. And when we look at these, we look for like terms. Remember, like terms have the same variables. Okay, no other a squareds. So we have an ab and an ab. So I really have two of those. And b squared. Okay. So this is a special case because there's a pattern here. To figure problems out like this, you square the first term. Okay, so I square the a. Then I take twice the product of the first and the last terms. Okay, to get this, I take these two, multiply them together, and then times 2. That gives me the 2ab. And then the last thing we do is we square the last term. So I take that and square it. Okay, that's the pattern. Square, multiply them together and double it, square. Some people don't like that, which I am perfectly okay with. You can just go ahead and FOIL. So let's look at one together. 5x minus 3 squared. Okay, again, we can do the shortcut or we could FOIL. Shortcut, square the first term. So it's 5x squared. 5x squared is 25x squared. Then to get the middle, multiply these two things together. So 5x times 3 gives me 15x, and then times it by 2 gives me 30x. And then we square the last term. Negative 3 squared gives me a positive 9. So that's the answer you should get. Okay, that's the shortcut. Again, I don't care if you don't like it. You can just absolutely do FOIL. So 5x minus 3 squared means 5x minus 3 times itself. So then we can FOIL. First times first, 5x times 5x is 25x squared. Outsides, 5x times negative 3 is a negative, oops, I'm sorry, this should have been a negative over here. Okay, so over here we get a negative 15x. Insides, again, negative 15x. And then lasts, negative 3 times negative 3, positive 9. Combine your like terms. Okay, like terms here, negative 30x plus 9. Okay, so I don't care either way. Please take a minute, pause the video, and try this problem. Okay, shortcut, square this again, so 9x squared. Multiply these two together, I get negative 12x, and double it, so times 2, negative 24x, and then square the last term, positive 16. And again, just FOILing it, 3x minus 4 times itself. First times first. Outsides. Insides. Lasts. Combine your like terms. And you get the same answer. Again, I don't care which way you use. Okay, so the next special product we're going to look at is a plus b times a minus b. Notice these two things are identical except for the signs in the middle. One's plus, one's minus. We call these conjugates. Okay, when they're identical except for the sign in the middle, we refer to them as conjugates. So let's talk about conjugates. So let's go ahead and FOIL. A plus B times A minus B. Again, I'm not a big fan of how they write that. I think that's more confusing. So let's just go ahead and FOIL. A times A squared. Outsides, negative AB. Insides, positive AB. And last times last, negative B squared. Combine your like terms. A squared. Oh, notice those cancel. So it just turns out to be A squared minus B squared. So the shortcut here, when you have conjugates, you square the first term and you square the last term. So I take A, square it, and square the B, and make sure it's minus. Okay, so the product of two binomials in the form A plus B times A minus B is A squared minus B squared. The product of the sum and difference of the two same values results in the difference of two squares. Okay, A squared and B squared, that's where the squares come from. Difference because it's minus. Okay, so again, you can do shortcut, or you can just go ahead and FOIL like crazy. Shortcut, you square the first term, so 5x squared is 25x squared. Minus, because it's the difference, square the last term, 7 squared, 49. Okay, let's FOIL it out though, just to make sure. 5x times 5x is 25x squared. Outsides, negative 35x. Insides, positive 35x. And lasts, negative 49. Combine your like terms. Oh, look, they cancel. So boom, they're gone, minus 49. Okay, please pause the video and try this problem. Okay, so 2x minus 4, 2x plus 4. Shortcut, square this. 2x squared is 4x squared. Okay, remember it's the difference, so it's minus. Square this, 16. Or let's FOIL. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Outsides, 8x. Insides, negative 8x. Lasts, negative 16. Combine your like terms. Oh, those cancel. 4x squared minus 16. Okay, and word problem. So a graphic designer is developing images for icons. The square pixelated image is placed inside a border that is 2 pixels wide on all sides. Okay, the area of the border is 176 square inches. What is the area of the image? Okay, so x represents the length and the width. Okay, so they told us this area right here equals 176. So we need to do the whole thing minus the picture equals 176. So how do I find the area of the whole thing? Well, that's x plus 4 times x plus 4, or x plus 4 squared. And I want to subtract the picture, which is just x squared, and that equals 176. Okay, again, this is the whole minus the picture equals the frame. Okay, that's what we did here. So let's go ahead and take care of these. So, oh, we can do a shortcut here. Remember, square this, multiply them together, so 4x times 2 gives me 8x, and square this term. Okay, and you could also, of course, FOIL that out if you don't like the shortcut. Okay, so then bring down the minus the x squared equals 176. Go ahead and solve. Oh, I can combine those like terms, those cancel. 8x plus 16 equals 176. Minus 16 from both sides. Get 8x equals 160. Divide by 8. X equals 20. So what was x? X was the width of the picture. And that's x. So we want to know the area of the image. Well, we know the area is equal to length times width, so x times x squared. So if I do 20 squared, I get 400. So the area of my picture, okay, this part right here, is 400 pixels. Let's do one more. Graphic designer is developing alternate icons. The square pixelated image is placed inside a border that is 4 pixels wide on all sides. If the area of the border of the image is 704 square pixels, what is the area of the image? Okay, that's actually should be x plus 8. Okay, so the border here is 4 inches, and the border here is 4 inches. So they have this picture labeled wrong, okay, because this part is x, and then we have 4 and 4, so this really should be x plus 8. And that's what this side should be too. So we're doing the same thing. The whole minus the picture. Oh, whole minus, okay, so we got the whole, and they're telling us this time the border, okay? So whole minus the border equals the image. Okay, so the whole we do x plus 8 squared, because that's how you find area, length times width, minus we know the border, so 4 equals the area of the image. The image is x times x, so x squared. So let's go ahead and work this out. Again, you can FOIL here. I'm going to do the shortcut, square that, multiply them together, we get 8x, and then we got to do times 2, so 16x. Square this part. Okay, let's go ahead and solve. What I see first, combining like terms here. So x squared plus 16x, and then 64 minus 704 is negative 640. Okay, we want to get rid of the x squareds because I have one on each side. So I have 16x minus 640 equals 0. Solve for x, add 640. 16x equals 640. Divide by 16. X equals 40. Okay, so then we want to know the area of the image. Remember, this was x squared, so I need to do 40 squared, and I get 1600. The area of the image is 1600 pixels. Okay, and that's all I got. Remember, you can absolutely FOIL each and every one of these. You do not have to use the shortcut. Okay, so that's just showing there. So here's your homework tonight. You're on page 279. You're going to do problems 13, 17 through 25 odd, 29 through 33 odd, and 36. Hope you guys have a great day.